Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. My first Marvel movie back in theaters since Far From Home. It's been over 2 years. And was it an exciting journey back? Yes. Because I thought this was a pretty great movie, and I loved it and had a great time with it. It has its flaws, but we'll get to that. But this was something fresh and different for the MCU, and it made me really happy because this right off the bat, Shang-Chi now is one of my favorite heroes that they have to utilize, and he was brought to life by Simu Liu in such a great way. There's a lot of charisma here, the physicality, and he brings a sense of honor and love and friendship and connection and athleticism to this role. And there's some charm here, there's some humor here, and right along there with him is his best friend Katie, played by Awkwafina, who actually has a lot more to do in this film than I anticipated. I thought she was just going to be the comic relief sidekick kind of thing, and yep, she is that. But she's capable, and she does things, and she goes on an arc, and has a great connection with Shang, and I really enjoyed their dynamic. Taking a step back, though, but Destin Cretton, who directed Crazy Rich Asians and Into the Heights, takes on this big budget comic book movie, and it's a big martial arts fantasy adventure, and it really works both those things well. This honestly probably has the best action, like actual fighting action in any of the Marvel movies. It's really well shot as well. You can see everything going on when it's that, when it's like the hand-to-hand combat. It's incredible. The choreography is amazing. There's such fantastic set pieces. Like the bus sequence is so much cooler than you could even anticipate from the trailer. The side of that building one is really awesome, and you definitely have these big CGI kinds of moments, especially in the third act, as this becomes like full-blown fantasy. And there's definitely some moments where it feels very muddled with all the CGI going on. Is like, can you really tell exactly what's going on here? But it's such well done and realized fantasy that I was so excited to actually see that go. Pacing wise, this is a 2-hour and 12-minute film, and how the narrative plays out is a little stop and go, and there's definitely some moments where it kind of screeched to a halt a bit when it's trying to really dump a lot of exposition, which those are the most awkward moments in the film because there is a lot of exposition in this origin film. I wish they could have found some more creative ways of trying to convey that, convey all of that baggage that needs to be brought in, but you get past it, and when it's going, and it's thrilling, it's exciting, and all the cast is great. You have Tony Leung, who is Zhu Wenyu, who is, quote-unquote, the Mandarin. Like, it's like a bastardized name for this character, but for the sake of just going through it, this is who the real Mandarin is. And he has so much depth as Shang-Chi's dad and all that baggage that goes along with it. This is a really interesting antagonist, and there's a lot more depth there than a lot of the Marvel villains, and Tony Leung, who does a fantastic job of bringing like the silent and composed charisma to things, even with just like a raise of an eyebrow or a smirk, brings a lot of charisma. The real MVP here, though, is Meng'er Zhang, who plays Shang-Chi's sister, and she is badass. She's really awesome, and I love where the film goes with this character, and where it teases this character goes into the future. And of course, you have like Michelle Yeoh and some other great additions. There's some antagonists here, like you have Florian Moon-Tanu, who is Razor Fist, who's like the big white guy with like the laser blade kind of hand, and he does a fine job as a henchman. The physicality's there. They don't ask him to do a whole lot. There's a lot of fun moments with some of the secondary villains, like the henchmen. Like, they don't have a whole lot of depth, but from a physicality and a fighting perspective, they bring a lot to the table. And there's some interesting cameos in this film. Obviously, they ruined two of them in the trailer, and I'm not going to bring them up, but they're a fun addition, and one of them in particular seems like there's going to be a strong connection here moving forward. And one of them is a really surprising thing popping up in this movie that made me really happy. It did feel a little out of place at times, but honestly, it was a delight because this movie was legitimately funny. I laughed quite a few times, and there's definitely some emotional moments, and especially with all this family dynamic going on in the film, I thought the flashbacks were used effectively for the most part in the film, and it was a closed loop story, and it works on its own and leaves the door open for so much more, especially with the after the credit scenes, so please stick around all the way until the end. And I can't wait to see more of Shang-Chi in other films, in other shows, wherever he's going to pop up, because he's a cool action hero, has a lot of fun. This film had a lot of charm and some fun threads that go through in terms of jokes and themes, and this whole story of family, and for real, not like Fast and Furious that needs to be like, but this is about family. This is about family, and it really works in this film, and I loved the cast. It was so fantastic. Everybody together did such a great job, and this was an exciting, big budget fantasy martial arts epic, and I hope that everybody shows this some love, because this is the kind of film that should be getting the love, and it could use it during COVID. That's the tricky thing. If you're not in a safe place, like I went at 1 o'clock on a Saturday in a giant theater. There's hundreds of seats in it, and there was maybe 20 people, and we were really spread out, and I kept my mask on the whole time. And wasn't prepared to go at prime time, where it might be a theater full of people. But I imagine seeing this with a theater full of people would have been tons of fun, because there's a lot of energy. Even I got into it a couple of times, and usually I'm a silent movie watcher. But this is tons of fun. I had a great time, and it's a great setup, and hopefully they could get past some of the exposition and the pacing and the origin story kinds of things to try to bring a new, fresh, bigger, bolder story in the next one, because Shang-Chi better get a second film. But those are my thoughts on The Legend of the Ten Rings. Let me know what you think. Let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.